everybody, my name is Amir and me and my group came in today to present to you how to make a good presentation and why it's important. Well, first of all, I'm going to start off by introducing my group. First of all, my name is Amir, as I said, and my colleagues are Giorgio, Faisal, and Max. Well, to begin with, I'm going to start with three things that you have to bear in mind when you want to make a good presentation. Well, first is to engage your audience to your conversation. Be personable, make personal stories. In this way you can keep the audience engaged to your conversation. Maintain interest, keep the content flowing. Do not pause a lot, do not repeat stuff as it makes the presentation boring and they may lose interest as well. Also know your audience, just know what they want and what they want to hear and deliver it to them. And now I'm going to talk about the things you're going to do to make a good presentation. First is a smile. A healthy dose of teeth can help to disarm the audience. And smiling is very important as it makes the conversation more friendlier and audience feel comfortable when you're talking to them. Be authentic. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Use a personal story or make jokes to make the conversation more interesting to the audience. Stay enthusiastic. People can tell if you would rather be somewhere else. If you care so about your audience, by engaging your audience to your conversation, asking them questions or let them ask you questions, it can help them to follow up the presentation and make them more interesting. Now I'm going to pass you to my colleague Max to take.
Thank you very much, Amir. I'll keep going on with the do's. So first of all, what you also should do is simplify. Do not put too much on your slide in general. 3 to 5 key points is perfect. Short sentences, sometimes even not sentences at all. But also a good method is just get rid of the words and put a picture on. It doesn't matter how complex or big your topic is. Try to hold it simple. Another point is also cut out words. Unnecessary words just make your presentation longer and longer, and sometimes the audience don't want to sit 4 hours just because you used unnecessary words. And also, when you get in trouble and has to stop, don't use and. This makes you looking really unprofessional, and it also gives a bad impression to the audience. Then, maintain eye contact. This is also really important because you build up a relationship with your audience. Maintain eye contact also to keep the interest. Also, don't stare at all. When you have a big presentation in front of your lecturer, don't stare all the time at him because you don't get a feedback from him. Look around, there are beautiful faces in the audience. So you build up a relationship, they feel interested, and also they give feedback back to you. Also, keep with the flow. Make a move transition between your key points. This includes like when you move from point to point on one slide, but also includes when you go from one slide to the next slide. Try to find a smooth transition and also keep with the flow, constantly speaking. This leads me to my next slide. Keep your delivery style fluid. The presentation should go from the beginning till the end with no pause. Also really important is the consistency and the speed and the pace of your presentation. When you're going too fast, it seems like you don't want to be here. You just want to rush through your presentation, wants to get off, and just want to go to somewhere else. Also, when you're too slow, the audience gets bored, which makes them fall asleep, and this is the last thing you want to in the presentation. And now, the don'ts. So I'm passing on to Faisal, who will inform you about this.
Thanks so much, Max. So I'm going to be focusing on the don'ts. These are going to be things that you want to avoid at any cost. They can take away your professionalism, the validity of your presentation, and they can make your audience lose interest. The first thing is to don't mislead. Say it like it is. A straightforward point is the best kind of point. If you're going to use metaphors, similes, any of that stuff, you're going to want to keep them very brief. Why? Let's say they go on for a minute or longer, your audience is guaranteed to be distracted and maybe even lose where they are in your presentation and lose their own focus. If you do use them, keep them minimal, and also if you want to put in a little short story about yourself, that could be good as it'll help them realize why they're speaking to you and why you're presenting to them about this particular topic. Going on with that, don't speak in the first person unless the presentation is about you. This is important because it'll keep your audience focused on the information that you want to convey to them. They got to keep learning. They got to get new points at every time, and you cannot distract them with another story about yourself or something that you've just done recently or speaking about where you learned the information. It's about them gaining the information. It's not about you. Focus on the topic at hand. Don't be repetitive. Everybody knows that when you say the same thing over and over again, it gets really boring. If you're going to make a point, try to make it one time. If you make it twice, make sure that they're still gaining something new out of it. Make sure your audience stays interested with 0 repetition at best and a little at worst. Short and sweet. This is very important. When you make a point, make sure it stays short, make sure it stays sweet. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep your explanations to a minimum. If you're dealing with any large ideas, big concepts, theories, you're going to have to simplify them because otherwise your audience might lose interest or they might not even be able to grasp it all at once in such a short span of time. Lastly, never apologize. If you make a mistake, and we all do, we're all human, don't address it. Don't apologize. You have to just keep going. And let's say you've forgotten something, that you've forgotten to address it in a previous slide or 2 minutes ago, whatever it is the case, don't go back. Your audience is going to lose where they are. Your key points should always be building up on the other ones. Now, for the big picture, I'm going to bring up my friend Giorgio.
Thank you, Faisal. Thanks. So, the big picture, what does this mean? You are talking about something maybe very specific, maybe very detailed. Your presentation can be something technical, but you don't want to forget what you're talking about. You are talking about a bigger context, so you don't want to forget this. You want to link what you're saying with what you said before and with what you're going to say after. So you want to give a sense overall to the presentation. And if you don't do this, if you forget sometimes to do this, your presentation will lose sense, coherence, and will bore or annoy your audience. Or you may not be as direct, and so they may not even understand. So this is very important. Moving forward, we give you some suggestions about the most important rules for presentations. These are not all, there are many. These are just opinions based on us. But if you follow them, we think you can have a good work. So, first things first, if you find something that you think has worked before or is good, why not using it? Even though if other people don't use it. You have to be confident with yourself. You are speaking with the audience, but you are the one speaking. So if you find something that makes you feel confident, that is working, you have to we advise you to use it. You have to use it. And you will look more knowledgeable to the audience. And if you find new techniques, like slides or anything, why not? You have to feel confident, and anything that goes in this direction is fine. Moving on, why presentations are important. This may seem something very simple, but actually, you must remind yourself that in a presentation, your audience is seeing what you are presenting, most likely for the very first time. And so, you want to give a positive impression. Moving on, focusing attention. You must know that your audience is focused, and you must keep them focused. If you lose them, if you lose the focus, you're gone. They must have focus. Next is time saving. You are working, your audience is working, your audience must have saved up some time from work. If you do something that is time saving, that is efficient, they will realize and they will appreciate this. You don't want to steal days, you want to be effective. And in the small time you have, you want to use it all and in an efficient way. And next is the workplace. You are working, your audience is as well, so you want to give some data, some technical data, supporting your thesis. You can't just pretend you're talking to friends, even though you may seem friendly. You need to have some data specific about what you're doing. And this is very important. So thank you. I hope you found this useful and let us know.